Hi, I'm Silke November. I'm 18 years old. I'm from George and I'm a 2 handicap. My father introduced me to the game of golf when I was 8 years old. So I started playing competitions at 8 years old, a few months after I started on the range, and won my first competition. My proudest golf accomplishment was last year when I won the Order of Merit in Southern Cape. I played quite a few good tournaments and I ended up first place in quite a lot of comps, so that's when my golf was improving and that's when I felt at my best. One of the courses on my bucket list is Augusta National and then St. Andrews actually, and that's all for now. I'm sure I'll get more along the way. My competitive advantage is being competitive. I'm always striving to improve, and I would say long game is what I have been most competitive with, and that's where my golf improved the most. And the coaches, everybody involved in this program, they're so amazing. I think this program could be one of the best in South Africa, or one of the best that I've actually experienced. I've enjoyed every second of it.
Hi there guys, I'm Keegan Shutt. I'm from Harare, Zimbabwe and I'm 16 years old. My dad introduced me to the game when I was 9 years old and I played my first tournament about 1 year after that. So I'm proud of myself for making the cut in the Zimbabwe Open with the professionals and for being the youngest person to win the Zimbabwe Amateur. My long-term goals are to turn professional and play on the PGA Tour with the best players in the world. The reason I'm here is because of the hostel and the golf and the professionals here that help me a lot in my golf, and I meet a lot of friends in hostel. I love learning about the game and being at the academy has given me the chance to do so.
Hi, I'm Max Hansen. I'm 20 years old and I'm from Johannesburg. My handicap is +1. My grandfather introduced me to the game and I was 8 years old at the time, and since then I've been in love with the game. I developed a passion for the game at a very early stage in my life. I was 7 years old and I wanted to stop all the other sports I was playing just to play golf. My proudest golf accomplishment is fulfilling my dream of playing college golf in the States. My long-term goals are to be a tour professional on the PGA Tour. A normal week for me consists of a lot of time on the range, a lot of playing, and just making sure my block practice is consistent. I prepare for a tournament by playing lots of golf and making sure my scoring abilities are up to standard. What courses on my bucket list? I'd say Augusta National, just because of the heritage and tradition of the Masters. It's unlike any other course. I've been attending the academy since I was 15 years old, which was 2017. The school helped me to gain independence by putting me on my own work schedule, and it allowed me to be free and play whichever golf events I wanted, and that really helped me. My competitive advantage is that I really enjoy playing in the tough conditions, so when other people are whining, I'm smiling. What can I take away from my time at the academy? I've made some great friends which I still see on a daily basis. I play golf with them pretty much every day, and I've got a long-term mentor in Adam McKinley whom I trust and try to see as often as possible.
A very warm welcome to the parents that have started to join us online. We will get started with the program and then we'll be sharing the recording for those that join us later. I'm your host, Anne Louise, and I hope that you enjoy our open day, our virtual and our physical open day this morning. We will start off with some presentations and then a Q&A at the end. We do encourage you to start asking your questions. You can do so by using the chat box or the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen at any point during our discussions. We want to welcome Gustav up first, just to start the session first. Thank you, Gustav.
And Louise, thank you very much. We really appreciate the time today. We're all busy outside, so we have a few parents that's with us here, and we're going to start, just not to keep everybody online waiting. Can I also ask that we're going to do a presentation, have a welcome, and then work on it. Okay, so welcome here. I really appreciate your time. A lot of faces we know and names we know. So let's start with the procedures. Thanks a lot. And Louise.
Okay, perfect. I've got the presentation up.
Okay, just that you know that we're having an online session today. We have about 70 or 80 people online, and we're also recording for them, so there might be a delay. We'll have questions online as well, and then questions for the parents. Most of them being internationals and not being able to be here. So let's start with the presentation on our side. Welcome to Bramble Academy. I think all of you have heard of us and read about us on the net and on our marketing campaigns. We've had an open day already, but today is more focused on the golf. We will also have academics again, but focusing more on golf and questions relating to the golf. And for the young men that's here today as well, welcome. We're really trying hard to get a few ladies and a few young girls involved as well, and we're busy with them, and hopefully one of these days we'll have a full ladies team as well. I'm going to start with the presentation now, and Louise, you can go to the first slide. Thank you. Just a little bit of history. You can see where our new logo comes from. And not being any confusing messages being sent in our marketing as well. Bramble Academy and Golf Academy all relives whatever has been done at Kanako and at Rundle Academy, and then also McKinley Reed. So it's vitally important to understand that you know where we come from, what our history is, and that we're all embarking on a new venture and having all the history of Kanako Golf Academy with us, and then McKinley Reed the golf as well, and that we're really growing this history and growing the name and continuing on the Bramble Hill Golf Academy way. So when you see in our marketing Kanako and you see the logos of McKinley Reed, and don't forget Rundle, because the one thing that happened is that Kanako Golf Academy was established and the need was seen for an academic option. And that is where the school Bramble Academy came from. So it is vital to know and to realize where we come from and exactly what we're all about. So you will see nicely how the logos culminated from McKinley Reed on the left, Kanako on the right, and in the middle is Bramble Academy now. So we haven't thrown away any of our history or any of our expectations and what we stand for. Thank you. One thing that is very important is our approach and why are we successful? And successful meaning, why do we know that we're successful and not only think that we are successful? If you look at the diagram there as well, when I normally ask our golfers, I say, listen here, if you look at the diagram and you think about one of the elements of the diagram, the gears that you can take out, if you take it out, what's going to happen? What's going to fall apart? And they all say, no, don't take away the golf, because that is what it's all about. We do understand that we're a golf academy and everything is about golf. So the main thing in our main factor, and you can see also the biggest gear is golf with health and fitness there. That is why we're here, and we understand that. The reason why we're successful and the reason why our students are so successful is the fact that we realize that golf cannot stand on its own. We can have talented golfers, we can have unbelievably good golfers, But there's other elements that needs to be added to this for us to actually get our students to where we want them to be. Everybody, and sorry for that, everybody is not going to be a Roger Wessels, is not going to be any else, is not going to be a Tiger Woods. But you know what? We are here to make you the best Roger Wessels you can be, or the best Ernie Els that you can be, or the best Annika Sorenstam that you can be. And that is what's important to us. So when we look at the diagram and you look at the crux of these gears, if we take one of them out, none of the others are going to turn. And I think you all can see that. And our youngsters will be able to tell me that. If school and academics is not part of this, sorry, it's not going to work. And we know that from experience. Why do we know that we're successful? Because of the fact that we have students that focuses on academics, but we know they're here for golf. And they understand the fact that as much as it is important that we have the skill and the talent, and that we need to be successful at our golf, we need to first get the basics right. And we need to first get our academics right so that we can go into the future. And then boarding. Our most successful schools out there, and I think some parents have got that, is boarding house schools, old schools established in 1890 and 1900s. They are full boarding schools. Why are they so good at what they do? Because there's tradition, there's academics, there's sport, and there's boarding house. So when we put a kid in that environment and our students in that environment, that is when they start excelling. And that is when they really, really, really produce the best that they can. And I will refer to that now. So interdependence is vitally important. These three factors that we've got here, and I've got another one that I'll just discuss very quickly. That is what it's all about. That is where success comes from. Because as a youngster, as a student, as a golfer, as an individual, you need to focus on your academics, your sports, and socially. That is where the boarding house comes in. So it's vitally important. Academic, that is the key to being successful, to driving our goals, to know where we're going, to know what we're doing, to know what we're all about. And in golf terms, I refer to that as your drive. Roger, sorry, I'm not the golfer, but that is your drive. If you don't position yourself on the golf course, sorry, you're not going to get anywhere. And I see that as the drive or the driver within who you are. Secondly, we're looking at the boarding and accommodation. Why do we have that? And yes, I've had many discussions. We've had many discussions with students, with staff, with parents. This is where routine and discipline comes in, which is an integral part of what you do as a golfer, as what you do as a sportsman, of what you do as an individual. And I see this, the routine and discipline, as the approach shots that we have. And I think one thing that we focus on a lot, and Roger focuses on a lot with our children, that is why we're here at the target range, is what do we do from the drive onto the greens? That is where most of your shots is being played. And I see the boarding house and our accommodation and the routine and discipline as our approach shot. That is what you do as a golfer. And then the last one, most important one, is golf. Golf itself. And golf is not a four-letter word. It is, but not the one that everybody refers to. Golf is, for me, stands for the game of life. And the F is definitely for everybody. Okay? It is being for everyone. Game of life, we have to approach golf like that, and we have to approach life like that. And I see that whatever you put in is whatever you take out. If we don't put in what is necessary, we're not going to take out what is necessary. And for our youngsters out there, if you want to achieve, this is the most important thing that you will have to remember. And that is why I think, even from our academic side, from our golfing side, and from our boarding side, we make sure that we focus on these skills and these personal traits, and that is how we do what we do and why we think that we're so successful. So with that, referring to, we're going to look at the academics. I know we've spoken about that, but you know what? It will be wrong to do a presentation today and not include our academics, because remember, it is one of our important things. So there's going to be a little online video that's going to happen now. And on the online video, you will hear the people speaking, and I will introduce them to you now as well. And then you can see who they are. Thank you. Let's see the video.
In the heart of the Garden Route, at the foothills of the Outeniqua Mountains, lies the beautiful city of George, second largest city in the Western Cape. Here you will find two Cambridge schools, namely Rundle College and McKinley Reid.
Over 2,200 universities and colleges worldwide recognize Cambridge qualifications. They are accepted by every UK university, by more than 850 universities in the US, including all the Ivy League universities, and in many other major student destinations such as Canada, Australia, Singapore, South Africa, Germany, and the Netherlands. Universities and employers recognize our qualifications as evidence of academic achievement. They understand that the demand of our curricula and the rigor of our assessments give students what they need to flourish in higher education. With the Cambridge pathway, students build more than just a deep understanding of their subject. They also develop higher order thinking skills so that they can apply what they've learned. Rundle College and McKinley Reid will be merging at the beginning of 2024 to become known as Bramble Hill International School.
Here at McKinley Reid, because of our very low teacher-learner ratio, we're so privileged to be able to work closely with each and every individual student. Our goal for our learners when they do leave us finally at the end of IGCSE or AS or A levels is for each and every learner to become independent, self-directed, resilient young humans, ready to take on anything that life throws at them.
At McKinley Reid, I was allowed to work independently and set my own pace. This helped me immensely in time management skills as well as taking responsibility for my own education.
At McKinley Reid, all teaching and learning hinges around content in enriched Google Classrooms with student-facing pacesetters. Each student is expected to consult their pacesetter for each subject daily and to identify work and assignments ahead of time so as to arrive well prepared for lessons. This academic structure allows for flexibility. For example, if a swimmer needs to be away for a gala or a golfer for an important tournament, they can plan and manage their academic responsibilities. By doing this, they learn important life skills, how to communicate appropriately and timeously, and how to write emails. We have a proud history of preparing sportsmen and women for college placements in the US, using the Cambridge curricula to prepare them for any academic system. McKinley Reid's philosophy is that education is a holistic endeavor and not solely an academic one, that human growth and development is not linear, and that we can all learn to become successful in our own way.
McKinley Reid does have a very individualistic and unique approach to education, both to teaching and to learning. But we do also offer mainstream subjects that are required by tertiary education institutions. Learning and teaching happens in a very unique way at McKinley Reid. There is some class contact time where we debate, discuss and explain, as well as independent learning times where students can complete assignments and prepare for the flipped classroom. In this way, important traits of responsibility and independence are developed.
Subjects that are available to IGCSE students in 2023 are the compulsory subjects English, Afrikaans or French, and mathematics, as well as the choice subjects biology, chemistry, physics, environmental management, business studies, economics, marine science, travel and tourism, art, and global perspectives. There is something for everyone.
IGCSE Marine Science has recently become available in South Africa. The subject builds knowledge of scientific concepts and theories that are fundamental to any science. It helps learners understand the complex and intricate nature of marine environment and its ecosystems, and it encourages a sense of responsibility towards the environment.
Your child will certainly benefit from our wide choice of interesting subjects at our beautiful school, McKinley Reid International.
Our academic program is enriched with many activities, such as volleyball, inter-house activities, hiking and trips, first aid courses, art projects, chess tournaments, gardening, and projects facilitated by the Interact Club.
We look forward to welcoming you to our beautiful campus overlooking the Outeniqua Mountains in George in the Southern Cape.
Thank you to our staff. You know what, and that's the fourth gear that I need to refer to, which I didn't refer to in the last slide. All of this success and what we achieve is because of the staff that we have, the staff that we employ. And that is maybe one of the most important gears in our system. And you will also see that they're highly qualified, they are highly motivated, and they know how to handle our golfers specifically. And that is what's important, and our sports people that joins us from that side. So the introduction video is done. So let's go to the next slide. We here in the Southern Cape, and for me, you know, not being from here, I can understand why everybody is down here. But importantly, also that we in an environment that we are linked to the Southern Cape Golf Union as well. Which is very active with the juniors and very positive for us. And I think it's a union that is really, really starting to build and excelling in what they do. The Garden Route must have some of the most beautiful golf courses, and I don't have to say it to you that's here, but for those online, within 50 kilometers radius, yeah, I think we've got some of the most beautiful courses in the world, not in South Africa. And what a privilege for our children to play on these courses, get familiar with them, play competitive golf on these courses, and actually apply their trade and their skill and hone their skills on these courses. Our professional team, and that's vitally important. As I said, looking at academics, you can see our staff, you can hear what they say, you can see what they produce. And important even on our professional team for golf. And that's why we're here today. And you know what? I can carry on about what they've achieved, and especially on our head coach or person that looks after the golf program, Roger Wessels. You know what? Yes, he's achieved a lot, and I'm not even going to go through all of that. The most important aspect of Roger being involved in this program is that he must be one of the most accomplished tutors, coaches in South Africa at this stage. He's been there, he's done that, he's achieved that, and he's busy giving back to golf what he's received from golf. And just one aspect of that is the way in which he interacts with our children, with our students, with top golfers, with beginner golfers at all levels. And not from a technical or from accomplished perspective at all. The person that is there, the person that is working with your child, with your kid, with the students, with top golfers out there, and making them what they should become one day. And that is what our program is about. That is mostly with us focusing on what we focus on, and actually what we look for in our staff members. Carl Cook has been with us for a very long time. He started here at the foundation, at Ernie House Foundation, if I'm not mistaken, but has been involved in the program for quite a long time, and is a great assistance to Roger and helps on every level that he can. Enrico is a little bit of an old photo there, but he's our specialist from a fitness perspective and a nutrition perspective. He can unfortunately not be here today. He's busy with cricket responsibilities. And we focus on these aspects fully, make sure that our students are 100% prepared for what they should do and what they should aspire for one day. Now, golf programs that we offer, and I think you've seen it in the marketing, and we've spoken about it personally, lots of us, and for the people online as well. You know what? It's important to understand what it is. We don't offer a wide variety, but vitally important that we look at the most important aspect of our program, and that is the Junior Golf Academy. The Junior Golf Academy entails all three of the gears and the aspects that we've seen on the diagram. It is youngsters between the age of 13 and 18. I think if it can come onto the screen, 13 and 18, which joins our full-time program, which entails the school, the boarding house, and the golf program. To us, that is the ultimate, and that is the way that that we can succeed. We do not advise anyone not to come to the boarding house and to the school and only do the golf program, but we also have a few local students that stays at home. That is part of our full program. That is local people staying in George, which is then not going to be part of the boarding house, but will be part of the entire group. And I think that is what we're marketing out there, and that is for our international candidates that is overseas now, so that they can realize what it is and what we're doing. And available, we still have a few spaces available for next year, and it's also important that if you start interacting with our admissions department, that you act very quickly, because spaces are limited on that side. The next one we look at is our school leaver or our gap year program. And there's a distinct difference between two aspects of our school leaver and gap year program, where our school leavers or our gap year students will be living in the boarding house as well, making use of our accommodation and part of the golf. And most of them will either do a tertiary, or they will do a course, an academic course, by either bettering their AS levels or their A levels that they have at school, or otherwise then acting and going into the PGA course that we will hopefully then start as well next year from February, March. And that is the main difference. The other gap year or school leavers will be making use of their own accommodation, and they will just join our golf program from that point of view. Very important to note as well, a school leaver or a gap year student is somebody that has left school last year, or that is finishing this year and will be part of our program next year. So it is not first, second, third, fourth year students from matric that wants to join the academy. That is not who we target, or what we target with or for, and who we work with. So it's vitally important that it's somebody that comes from school, wants to better their marks, wants to better their academics, and also get engaged in the golfing fraternity and environment and qualify themselves in that side. And then the last one is golf only. Now, golf only program will only be for locals, local students, mostly being part of our schools, either Rundle College now or being McKinley Reed, and in future of Bramble Hill International School. So as a extracurricular subject, staying here, not staying in the boarding house, but already being in our school, and then being part of our full-time golfing program under Roger and Carlo and Enrico, and making sure that that they develop from there, and ultimately being part of a golf school, because that is what we're aiming at. In 2024-25, we will be a fully fledged golfing school, focusing on golf sport, movement for golf, and related activities. The pricing is there, but I think you all see that, and I think I'm not going to refer to that. Then the next slide. Our facilities, and that I think is a question that we get a lot, and I just want to refer to that, and you can speak to Roger as well. Our facilities currently, this is where school is. Some of our students are at Rundle as well, and we will gradually move everybody over from an academic perspective now to McKinley Reed. And one thing for our golfers is they will be in an online environment, so they will be managing their academics online and here on a mentor basis, but will be able to be flexible to totally part of the program, and I will show you later as well. Our driving range, our target range, is what you see outside here. This is where our students spend, I don't want to say most of their time, but really practicing quite hard. This is where they do target practice, they chip, they putt, and this is where the short game is being done, and Carlo is mostly involved with that. Our driving range facilities, we've recently joined the Fancourt Academy as well, under Want to Be a Champion, and Roger is also one of the coaches there, and then our students also have the privilege to actually go to world-class facilities, and it's great to be part of that, and great to have the opportunity to be part of that as well. We have our own gym, so they don't have to go anywhere else. And just saying to you now, as we speak, is we're planning to move our gym to the new premises because we can't house it here, but it will be close, and January will be 100% ready. We have a fully fledged gym where our guys are with Enrico as well, and they really focus. It is not just a gym to have a conscience. It's a gym that they actually work extremely hard with and looking at their fitness, their nutrition, their strength. And we have a lot of professionals that we work together with, where Roger will refer somebody to a physio. We have preferential people that we work with because we know they're the best. We have people that want to be a champion as well that we can refer to, and then medical doctors and specialists. So we really focus on the individual. It's not that it's a group activity. We focus on the individuals and their special needs as well. So from a facility point of view, I think we're extremely privileged, and you know that our students make use of some of the best facilities that is out there. Yeah, just to show you the view on the driving range, which is so nice when the guys are practicing. Evan Lee on the left-hand side is one of our up-and-coming golfers, doing extremely well. Roger, I think he's #1 in Southern Cape at this stage in his age group. Brilliant. He's proudly a Chinese national. Well, this is nationality, but you know what, comes from Zimbabwe and really works hard. But these are the kind of students that we have, and I think with a view like that and with facilities like that, they can only do well and enjoy what they do. Next slide, we can weekly activities. Now I'm leaving it like that because I think one of the questions I get most is, but listen, what do our children do during the week? You know what, do they just play golf, or do they just lie around, or whatever it is? And that is why it's so important to have a balance between academics, the boarding facility and accommodation, and also golf. If we look at the schedule that is there, and I'm going to show you how busy your children are. It is extreme. I know it's very small, but I will explain to you. The orange there is just when they get up, and I want to say to you that it's 5:45 in the morning. It is not late. So they work hard and they know what to do. They're on time. They rise and shine in that time, and mostly in the mornings between 7 and 7:30 and 8 o'clock is either breakfast, but you will see on a Tuesday and a Thursday morning, these are mostly our junior golf academy. Next year they will have gym. Now this is not happening, we're changing it for next year. So the gym sessions will be on a Tuesday morning and a Thursday morning. Then it's breakfast again. The blue that you see there is all academic. It's academic time. So they do academic time, believe you me. They really work hard at it. And then the light green gray, that is golf activities. And I think the most important from that then is to see that they will play golf, for instance, on a Tuesday. I call it boom golf. I know Roger will laugh at it. He hasn't heard it, but it's Bramble Hill Order of Merit. So we call it boom golf. So they're going to have three sessions of boom golf in a week, which is actually for the Order of Merit of Bramble Hill Academy. So they will go on to Order of Merit every single month and also play around that side. There's enough social time, which you can see as well. And on weekends, we really try and get them on the golf course. There's also a time for social and there's time for excursions. But I must be honest, and you can ask any, I think, of our students, they don't like the excursions. They want to go to the golf course. They don't want to go to the beach. They don't want to go to a park. They want to be on the golf course. And we still struggle to get them anywhere else from that point of view. So there's no open space. There's no white spaces there. So our children get used to a routine. From a boarding perspective, accommodation perspective, they have a routine. They need to stick to that routine and they need to stick to that discipline. When it's work time, study time, homework time, they need to do it themselves. We look after them, we make sure they're there, but unfortunately, you know, with studies, we only get it in a term, 2 terms, 3 terms time. Then you see, listen, somebody's not doing his part. But on a golfing perspective, we can see it immediately. We see it in the scores, we see it in how they perform. And those are the things that we're going to focus on next year a lot. Getting academics reporting much more frequently and make sure that our guys perform on that side. So very busy. You can see that there's no time to sit around or do anything else. They are busy. Okay. Accommodation, there's a lot, everybody asks about it. I mean, you can go and have a look on the facilities. There's one or two of the rooms that is set up that you can go in this morning, go and have a look. It's all single, well, double rooms with a little bathroom inside. We are currently staying and residing at Maitland Meander. We've done for a year or two now, but we'll be moving away from there. And the interim is to stay here and then move to our new premises as soon as it's ready at Tremonto, just at the back, very close here. But you will see it's very comfortable. It's on campus here, which is nice for this year and next year, or coming next year, is that everything, most of the stuff will be happening here. We although will go and have our lunches and our dinners, our breakfast and our dinners up at the new premises, and have our lunches here, and from here disperse to the golf courses wherever we need to go. I just want to refer here as well, and I know they're here as well, and I want to mention there, and please, the parents that's here, please speak to them. Esna, Boyd, and Desiree, which is our parents in the boarding house. These people make everything happen. Okay, they make sure that everything is there. Emily is our boarding administrator. She's like the sergeant major, so she's there. Then Roland, which is our driver, he's here, sitting at the back as well. I mean, without him, I don't think anything will happen. And it's vitally important to understand as well that when they drive, our children have to go everywhere, and he's the person that takes the responsibility to have them there on time, make sure that they're there. So sometimes has a very difficult job. Jackie and Chichi, which is our cooks, and Annie and Elise, which is our cleaners. This is a huge team, and they work together, and they're so successful, and our children enjoy it so much. And you can ask themselves here today as well, having a ball and eating, I think, like kings. Right. And that is it from my side. Very short on what it is. We're going to have a question and answer session. Unfortunately, it's not only going to be us. There's online questions and answers, which I know Anne-Louise has asked the people to have. We're going to start with the academic questions as well. So can I ask Stuart, yourself, and Lisa, and Jane, you guys can come and sit here in front, Tana as well. And if there's a question, you can just come and stand here and you can answer that. Now, parents that's here, is there anything from an academic point of view? If you want to ask our students that's here as well, you can do. As you've heard, Stuart is our principal. Lisa and Jane and Tana is acting as heads in their different departments. So you can ask anything from the parents here that you would like to ask. And Louise, if there's anything online as well.
Perfect. Just to remind those parents that have joined us online is to ask your questions. You can do that by using the Q&A box or the chat box on your screen. For now, we're waiting for those questions to come in so we can take questions from the parents that are physically there. Thank you.
Any questions from?
So we're familiar with Google Classroom, but and this is also not just a question for us, but there are a few people that wanted us to give feedback. Learning support. So I love the idea of independent learning and everything's posted on Google Classroom, but how would are there certain individuals that you can keep an eye on? Are there extra lessons, which I don't think the schedule factors for that? I see in the evenings there's a 2-hour academic session. Where does that support come in? Okay, so they will have a proper time.
Sorry, Lisa, can you come and stand here with a mic? Oh, yeah, with a microphone, and you can just speak loud so that everybody can hear. Right.
So the students on our hybrid system have a full timetable, an academic timetable, where they meet tutors twice a week per subject. So it's those sessions are not teaching sessions where the learner sits passively. It's a session where you go through assignments, you work with concepts that are difficult. So essentially, it's a bit like a flipped classroom approach, where we expect them to follow what we call a pace setter. They go and they see what's expected of them for that week, per day or per week, depending on how their assignment is structured. And then they go in, they look at what's needed, they watch any videos that are there, they read any notes, they start the assignments, and then when they meet with their tutors, then they work through those concepts with the tutors. So they're definitely not left entirely on their own. So that's from a purely academic point of view, but I think more importantly is we have academic coordinators. And so each child is allocated an academic coordinator, which is either Desiree or Jessica. Yeah, Jessica. And what they do is they meet with them every single day. First thing, they touch base, and they have a full session once a week where they manage their work schedule and their work load, and they check to see where they're falling behind. You also get weekly work logs. The parents will get them, the kid will get them, which is, so the Google Classroom provides all of that anyway. But essentially what they do is they go and collate all that information, and then they report back to the parents to tell you where you are. And then obviously we will report back to the golfing side, because if we feel that someone is falling very far behind, then we actually need to intervene immediately, because we can't let golf take over. We have to keep that balance, otherwise, you know, that person's not going to get, the student's not going to get the qualifications they need to go where they want to go. Does that help?
Yes, thank you, that's helpful. I do have another one.
Yes.
Another question, maybe you need to stay saying. Transitioning from CAPS or IB to Cambridge, and especially for some children that are not that independent, not that lateral thinking. In your experience, how has that worked?
Jane, I'm happy to take it unless you want to.
No, you can carry on.
So Jane is our academic head and our exam officer. So what we find is that the earlier, the better in terms of transitioning from CAPS to Cambridge. So rather come in early, at the very latest at the beginning of IGCSE. Because Cambridge not only is quite a different way of learning and curriculum and thinking, but it's also in terms of just, the CAPS tends to be a more passive type of system, especially depending on, but it depends very much on the school that you're at. Very content driven. CAPS is thinking driven.
I need to just add in there that the where IGCSE fits in from a grade point of view for those that
Okay.
want to show.
Yes. So for us, the IGCSE begins at grade 10. Okay, so at the end of grade 9, going into grade 10.
So that's ideal.
Yeah. But we do have the hybrid system from the beginning of grade 8, where we'll already be transitioning them and providing obviously a little bit more support at those lower levels.
I'm not sure I understand what a hybrid system means.
Okay, so hybrid system is a cross between you doing your stuff independently online and us supporting you with a human.
Okay, so it's on site.
Yes, so our hybrid system actually works. We have learners that are here as well as away, but the predominantly they are Google Meets. Okay, which will allow then for flexibility. So you could be sitting at the boarding house because you've got to rush up to gym, but you've got your meet with your tutor.
Okay, but they're still part of the golfing program.
Yes.
They don't have hybrid system, meaning not even part of the
No,
boarding. And
we do have learners that are not part of our golfing program, that are sort of independent, and usually they're also sportsmen, but in different sports.
okay. Thank you.
I think if I can add to that as well, on our hybrid online system as well, we will accommodate other sports, but we will not accommodate somebody that's not a sportsman. You understand what I'm saying? So it will be somebody that is a sportsman, that has achieved, that is at a certain level, and they maybe will be remotely, but they come in to come and write exams, most of them, even if they are not on site, but they're part of the system, and there's admission needs for the levels that they can do. So we won't just accept anybody from that point of view. Very important as well. So our golfers, as from next year, are going to transition totally into a hybrid online system where they will be mostly online. They will also be present to be with the teachers. And the other question as well, where they need support, if academic is not up to scratch, then we refer them back to school, because both of them is very important. So if the academics are not up to scratch, then we will take away golf time to make sure that the academics are up to scratch as well. So that is an important thing. Jane, you come and please.
Yeah, one thing that I wanted to add was just that because there is obviously an emphasis on academics as well in order to be successful, they also spend some time here. So I can't remember the percentages, but if they are purely online with a hybrid online component, they can also come here for a week, a term, or what did we discuss? I can't remember what we said.
Yeah,
but
normally 3 weeks in a term.
And I've noticed that with those who do come in, got one in particular, it makes such a difference to have that personal contact, makes a difference to the understanding, the relationship, the personal relationships, which we also really spend a lot of time on. So I think that's just something that you need to remember, is that it isn't purely remote, that they also do have contact time with us as well for enrichment, class discussions, and even getting to know their peers.
And in those academic sessions, are they able to go and hit a golf ball, or I mean, some sportsmen, it's quite a challenge to sit.
Yes, so if they come here for, let's say they come for a week and then they go off and then they come back later, during that week they will continue with their normal schedule, except the academics that they would have been doing online, they'll be in the classroom with the peers.
But I mean, within the classroom, within one day, or within 1 2-hour, 3-hour academic session, are they kind of learning or going through their work independently? But if they wanted to get up and go outdoors and then come back,
it depends on whether they've got a scheduled class. Okay. So if you're up to date with your academics and if you're in your scheduled classes as you should be, then not a problem at all.
You will see that our students, when they're at school on a Tuesday and a Thursday, full time, they're here for 4 hours, which is not a lot. So twice, and then on a Wednesday as well. So, and it's normally scheduled that they will have time. There's break, but they will go and putt, do whatever they want to do. But definitely structure. It's not that we do what we want when we want. There's structure. We in class, we have academics, but the availability is, yeah, definitely. Okay. Any other questions from an academic perspective? And Louise?
There's nothing on academics specifically online. Maybe just discuss the benefits that this program would provide to a student going in the future.
Yeah, I think you guys can, if you want to, from an academic perspective, it's just from the Golf Academy side, it is vitally important that our students become independent, that they become responsible. And you will see from grade 7, 8, 9 upwards, then we start weaning them and they start taking full responsibility on their side. And that is what is important. And that is the benefits when they go into varsity, they go into college, because that's how we want, where most of them want to go. That is what we actually do, the system, what it creates from that side. Academically, is there anything else you guys want to say? Okay, thanks, Anne-Louise. Can we then start with the golf? Thank you very much. Can I ask Roger and Carlo to come and sit in front, and if there's any golf related questions, then they can answer them.
Wonderful, thank you. I just want to encourage those parents that are online to ask their questions within the Q&A or in the chat box provided. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other questions in the meantime? Because it seems like there's not a lot of academic questions, and the golfing side I think is going to be a lot. But let's just, yeah. From a golfing perspective, any questions on your side, young men that's here as well?
So I would like to know on weekends and in terms of comps, I'm slightly familiar with the Southern Cape events, but what events are they entering and how busy is it, and from what level does that start to happen?
Roger, you can come and stand here.
Okay, hi, good afternoon. Yeah, it's good afternoon. Okay, from a competition point of view, I found the Southern Cape to be very proactive in accommodating youngsters. So that would be under 19, all the way through to the open category in the tournaments that they present. So every single golf course in the province, from Plettenberg Bay to Riversdale, runs an open championship. At the moment, it's only 18 holes. It used to be 36 prior before COVID came along, but it is 18 holes, and so I think there are about 14 clubs, I think, somewhere around there in the province. So every single one holds an open tournament. Every single club holds a junior tournament as well, so that's under 19. And both these, most of the time, the tournaments take place on a Sunday. And what I like as well is most of them actually happen during the school term. So this sounds a bit odd, you know, when you're up in Gauteng or Northern Gauteng and it's like that the clubs won't release their golf courses for competition during the school term, so they don't get the weekends to play. So they play midweek during the holidays, where in the Southern Cape you play most of them on the occasional one is on a Saturday, but most of them on a Sunday. So they run about 28, 30 tournaments for the guys to play in. The juniors, if they have an age, and they feel that, and they let me do it this way. So in the open category, they have an A and B division. So the juniors, no matter what the handicap is, they can play in those tournaments as well. They have an A, B, and then they also have a C division in the junior tournaments, and that depends on your handicap. So you're actually playing with people, not so much from an age point of view, but certainly from a skill level point of view. So whether you're 13 or 16 or whatever, if you're in a 14 handicap, then they put the skill level guys together. Okay, and then as you improve, so you start playing with better players as well. We host in the province normally 2 national tournaments. That would be the Cape Province Open and the Southern Cape Open. And then there's also the Southern Cape Closed and a couple of other closed as well. So in total, there must be around about 34, 35 tournaments that our students can play in during the year. So there's loads of opportunity to play competition. I relate from a competitive point of view, particularly when we're talking about youngsters so that's under 19. I'm not that interested in really how in their performances. It's more a guideline as to these are the skills that they've got to work on. So it's a feedback as to what skills they're missing in order to get to the level that they want to play at eventually. So it's not about us really, it's about what they want to try and achieve. So and at the moment we've got, a couple of guys from Zimbabwe that came down. They really battled to break 90. Yeah, so when they first came down here, Evan that was up on the screen early on, he was shooting 85, 86s when he joined us last year, and now he's winning tournaments shooting 68s. So so he's in a program that's helping him develop his skills, but his the drive that he has, is really personal. It's great to see them play like that, and I love, it's great to see success, but it really is about them. Yeah, and then we try and structure everything around it. So the feedback that they give us after a tournament is, what is your short game like? What's your chipping like? What's your post play, driving? And then now we have the facilities to actually accommodate improving the skills that they're lacking in. I hope that kind of answers the question. Yeah.
So on weekends, the local kids, do they stay? Is it termly boarding?
Yeah.
I don't know how many weekends.
If they wish to go home, we'd like them to play the tournament. I don't see a reason for them not to go home, I suppose. The guys that are local, I don't think it's going to happen with the Zimbabweans or the people from upcountry. But however, there's always something for them to do. So they become members of they're members of Kingswood and George, and then they can actually, Kingswood's a bit easier over the weekend, but they can make a booking at Kingswood, and they can play over the weekends when there's not a tournament as well. So and we encourage that. So they might even come back down to the Boom Golf where they can play against each other and put themselves up in the Order Merit or whatever it is. But there's plenty of opportunity for them to play golf even when there's not a tournament on. Yeah.
Then can I go back to like an academic side? So on the weekend, saying they play a tournament say on Sunday, but Saturday they want to catch up on some work.
Yeah.
Is there the academic side to help on the weekend if that's needed? So I'm just trying to.
Yeah, no, okay. I actually can't answer. Listen, my philosophy as well is that academic is so important. I know I'm the head of golf, and I love the guys to excel at golf, but as Gustav mentioned early on, many of the youngsters want to try and get to an American college, to put their golf in academics, and they cannot do that if they don't get on the trip. So, and I want them to succeed and get there. So as we mentioned early on, if they're falling behind in their academics, then I'm the first person to put my hand up and say, listen, we need to make a plan here because it's not helping them. So over to you on Saturdays.
So I think important as well. That's why Esna and Boyd is there. They are our parents, but they are teachers. They qualified teachers. They will be in the boarding house. They do well. Sorry, and Desiree as well. So they do. They do these the sessions as well. They ensure that homework is done. They ensure that they know something not understood. They can refer to them. And I think that is the advantage of having qualified staff as parents as well. But definitely, there's not going to be a parent a house parent on standby on the weekend or a staff member. But if the house parents are there, they're on duty, they will assist. And if they see there's a problem, they will refer back to the school from that point of view. Okay, so definitely, yes. That's what's so nice to be in the environment of a boarding house. But on your answer, as well, most of our students are termly boarders, so they stay here until it's holidays. When it's holiday, they go home. But I mean, if you stay close and weekends you go home, or the student goes home, no problem with that. But they're always part of what we do. They're always part of our competitions. They always travel with us. That is how we operate as a team. Okay.
Now the tournaments included in the package.
No, from a cost point of view, tournaments, as you will see on our marketing as well, all tournaments are excluded. The transport locally, because that's the most expensive thing, I think, as a transport locally is included. We will transport the students from there on, but your admission fees and stuff like that, it's all for your pocket. So there's a contingency fund that's a monthly fund that pays in, and we pay the fees from there until it's depleted, and then you just have to top it up again. So we physically work on a 3,500 rand a month. I don't know, for next year's maybe the same, I think, as well. And then we operate. We take costs from there for emergencies like tournaments, because that's an emergency. They need to do that. Any other questions from a golfing side?
Yeah. No. Okay, something I didn't mention early on, and this is exciting for me as well, because remember the students are playing national events, and Carlo has been traveling with the guys to different destinations around the country. And they, like, for example, early next year is the SA Amateur, the African Amateur, the SA Stroke Play. I mean, those are those open events, and the most important tournaments on the amateur calendar in South Africa. But from a schooling point of view now, we're going to have to discipline the kids, obviously, but when he travels with them, is that they're going to do schoolwork when they do travel. I'm involved with Golf RSA, and there are a couple of kids that I've realized that they're extremely disciplined, but they tend to play golf, and then they speak to us as managers or as coaches when we're away at these different events, and realize that they actually have to do their schoolwork. So they also go for about 4 hours. And I think between 2 and 4 hours to do their schoolwork so they don't fall behind. And I think we're in that same situation now, that we can provide that, that facility, which is very, very positive as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
On the golfing side, a friend says that her child loves golf, but doesn't feel that she is necessarily talented. Is the golfing school for the student like that, or would you feel that they need the necessary natural ability?
No. Passion and enthusiasm, honestly. So, we'd love them to all be stretch golfers, but the reality is that they can't be. But if there's passion and enthusiasm, then they'll put right in here, and that's what we're about as well. So except there's a life skill to it, you're the discipline in getting, in practicing your skills in understanding a process, and it's not about the destination. That's kind of how you get there. So absolutely, and at the moment we've got a couple of students, that really enjoy getting involved in the program. Getting outside, hitting balls, seeing their progress, but they're never going to be scratch golfers or championship golfers, So yeah, we certainly accommodate them.
So I wanted to find out a bit about the college scholarships and some of the students that have obtained them. Are they full scholarships, partial? What kind of diplomas or degrees do they end up studying? I mean, some students aren't going to really want to study or pursue that too much. It's just about the experience.
The one thing about the American, I'm going to sort of use a broad brush strokes here. If you want to retain a scholarship in America, you have to pass academically. It's not just about your terminal performance. So if you and the feedback that I get is that the academic level, well, certainly at certain universities over there, is not exceedingly high. So it's quite easy to. I think if you go through this, the system that we've got, the Cambridge system, that you learn how to look after yourself, I think you can quite easily, a student can quite easily handle the academics over there. But you have to pass over there. The level of scholarship that you get, I think it depends on the level of skill you have as a golfer, or where you are ranked in South Africa. I don't think it has to be the world, where you ranked in South Africa, or how good your academics are. So and they do have a look at that. I'll give you an example. I mean, this was many, many years ago, but my brother got a scholarship to a junior college over there and happened to do very well academically. So his scholarship, eventually he spent 5 years over there, but they kept on renewing from an academic point of view. So he played his golf for 5 years, but that can happen. So the full partial depends on a person's performance, both academically and from a developing point of view. Yeah.
And I also go there. You can stay here, Roger. All the examples you see on the website as well, and that's McKinley Reed students that is there now, which is excelling on that side, like Barend is there specifically. These are guys that has been here 3-4 years ago. They are extremely successful. They're some of the most successful students, well, even from South Africa, that is currently in the US, and they are really, really doing exceptionally well. But the balance is there been between the academics specifically and with the golf skill. So, they're out there and they will tell you, you will see on the interviews as well. It doesn't matter how good your golf is. If you get there, you're in the wilderness. You need to know what to do. You need to be responsible. You need to be self-sufficient, and you need to study, and you need to work hard. Here and in South Africa, I think we baby our golfers, and that's what we're here for. I mean, we need to get them to a level, but we also need to prepare them. So academics and golf, like Roger says, is vitally important. And these youngsters that comes from McKinley and from the system are totally prepared. I don't think anybody in South Africa, and I want to say that, prepares them as well as we do here. But it's hard work, and it's individuals. It's not 10 at one time. There's 1 or 2 or 3 maybe every second year, which shows you it's selective and it's hard work. And you know what, that is what I think our students must strive for. And if not, then they become the best that they can be locally. I know Roger is very much pro local golf and local experience, because that's how he learned. He understands that. And yes, there's no better place than playing golf in South Africa and then going overseas. It's a fact.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? And Louise, you're very quiet online. I'm worried about that.
I think you're covering so much information. There doesn't seem to be lots of questions from my side. Okay. But again, the parents are welcome. We're going to cover a little bit on the boarding as well. Maybe if we can, I do see that there's a school leaver applicant that's online. Maybe discuss a little bit more on that program as well.
Okay, the school leaver program, it's as I said, we qualify as a school leaver, as somebody that has made their matric, their qualifications here. You need to have the qualifications to be part of the school leaver program. Distinct difference between that is you're a school leaver, but you're going to still be in boarding at this stage. I mean, that is for disciplinary team stuff, or you're going to be somebody that stays outside and has your own accommodation, own transport. Our school leavers, our main thing is for the guys that is really good at golf, and we want to retain them. We want to have them in an academy so that they can actually improve their skill, their golf level, because most of the school leavers coming here are accomplished golfers. They can play golf. They have played golf. They're provincial golfers. They've done their time, and they want to come and retain here for 1, maybe 2 years to get their skills level to a stage where they can actually go to college. Only way that they're going to do that is by qualifying from an academic perspective. So if they have IGCSEs, they can either do AS levels or A levels and improve their marks. So instead they can get better bursaries to get into the top colleges. And your question about the colleges as well, there's different levels of colleges, and some colleges that you don't want to be at. But there's some colleges that you want to be at, and you want, from an academic perspective, to be very, very qualified for that, and a golf skills level be accepted and being hunted and wanted. We've got a few students now that all have offers. I think there's three already that has got offers already to go to colleges, and they only IGSEs, IG1, IG2s. And I mean, they must realize, and that is the different and difficult thing. They become good golfers, they relax, they don't want to do the academics. We need to mentor them, we need to guide them, and that is why our staff is there and why we are here. So we keep the levels there, and we make sure that from an academic side, they are well qualified. Because remember, that is what they get their scholarships on. The golf skill is just a benefit, and that is why your golf colleges likes the academic students that is very good at academics, because they get a higher bursary scholarship for that, and they can actually then get more golfers to play. Okay, so those are the two different ones. So yes, we after the matriculant, the guy that is qualified, that wants to come and really get to a skills level that they can go and perform in the US and see what the best is for them to do. Okay, I think that yes, please.
How many students do you accept, the golfing students?
Still for now, we maximum.
Well, not at the moment. No, just in general, like per year, or the intake of boarders.
Okay, at this stage, obviously, and I think I had to start with that, and I forgot about that. After COVID, there's been a huge downfall in applications because of the international side. Our biggest level of student was international. We have a lot of local content now, and I think you used to be maybe 40, 50 students maximum a year, which we don't want to do. We will be at about 30, 35, 40, and with the new facilities, we will increase. But at this stage, we have got 15 full-time students, and we hope to be to 25. That's our max for next year, and we're on our way there quite nicely. We have a lot of interest in the school leaver program as well, which is, secondary to what we on the junior. So our junior golfers, they get first priority to be full-time, to be part of school, because that's when we want them, and that's where we want to take them and really make a success of them from that perspective. Okay, so yeah, we limited, but I don't think we'll go more than 35, because then it becomes a group session, and we don't do that. Okay, and Louise, I think that's it. We tired of questions.
I know. Perfect. I think just to mention to those online, I see that there were some that were on and off. I'm not sure due to internet. We will be sharing this recording on the YouTube channel, and that will go out to everyone that is registered. And then the brochures have been shared, and I'm sure the parents that are there have received a physical brochure. So that is available to them. And then obviously if there's any further questions, they're welcome to email the admissions office. Thank you so much for Gustav and for the team there. I think it has been a lovely informative session. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our parents here. Thanks for your time. We hope that we're going to be more, but you know what? It's important to have who wants to be here or who's interested in it. Please, there's snacks and coffee and tea at the back for our staff that's here as well. There's going to be some activities outside for the two gentlemen that if you want to go as well, you can go and enjoy that. And if there's anything, admissions is available, and Louise, you can contact them. Otherwise, you know where to find us. We're all here. Roger, you guys will be available. Boarding house parents will be available. If there's anything else, please speak to us. And thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you.